My name is Virginia Bass. I'm the Channel Marketing Manager at Vision Technologies. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We're continuing on with our second DAS webinar presentation. Remember, this is a series of 7. The first one, we're still working on getting the recording up, but we will have both sessions posted if for some reason you need to jump off the line or you want to review the presentation later. Vision Technologies is a leading IT services company. We're headed in Baltimore, Maryland. We have teamed with our OEM partner CommScope in order to provide you with information surrounding the life cycle of DAS. So I'm sure most of you have seen this before, but today's presentation we're going to be addressing how to select a trusted DAS partner. Our discussions are going to include presentations from both Ron Plekas and Rick Baldessari as we talk about VAR qualifications and also key attributes for a successful partnership. We're looking to kind of keep this short and sweet, so another 20 to 25 minutes. We'll follow up with some questions and answers at the end. As a reminder, we've muted your phones today. We want to encourage you to ask questions. There is a chat function on your screen, so feel free to use it. We'll be reviewing the questions, and if we don't get to it at the end of the presentation, we want to make sure that we answer all of them, so we will get back to you with a direct email. So before we get into our presenters and our presentations, just a quick corporate overview of both CommScope and Vision Technologies. So CommScope is a global organization. They're publicly traded, and they currently serve over 100 countries with over 20 manufacturing facilities and 11,000 plus employees. They average about $100 million annually in research and development, which is very important. They focus a lot on kind of bringing or improving the market. So with over 2,700 patents and over $3 billion in revenue, CommScope is a market leader in wireless, enterprise, and broadband. Number 1, as you can see, in merchant RF solutions, in structured cabling and connectivity solutions, and also number 1 in coaxial and fiber optic cables for HFC networks. So Vision Technologies. Vision Technologies is a systems integrator with global experience delivering converged IT services and solutions. They leverage DBIA's design-build process with what we call integrated technology delivery methodology. It eliminates change orders and accelerates projects. It also enhances return on investment and minimizes total cost of ownership. Vision Technologies was established in 2000. In 2014, their revenues exceeded $90 million. They have in-house design and engineering services in DAS, PON, wireless, IP surveillance, audiovisual, and also structured cabling. While focused on national delivery, Vision employs over 350 employees and reside in about 22 states currently. They're a service-disabled veteran-owned business with prime contracts on GSA Connections 2, Schedule 70, and 58I. And Schedule 84 is currently pending for security and IP surveillance equipment. Last piece of mine, it's a quick introduction to Ron and Rick. Ron is a member of the CommScope organization. He's responsible for managing in-building wireless channel sales. Pairing his technical expertise and 14 years of experience, Ron's a wealth of knowledge, so thank you, Ron, for joining us for your second presentation. And lastly, Rick Baldessari. He's a Vision Technology Solutions Architect. He's going to cover the second half of our presentation. He's got over 30 years of experience in the IT industry while focusing on wireless mobility. From technical sales and system design to customer education, Rick is able to define and implement solutions for a successful DAS deployment. He can address concerns and considerations as far as building specifications and budgetary requirements. So here's just a brief timeline of today's agenda. Ron, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you at this point.
Okay, thank you, Virginia. Appreciate it. Welcome everybody today. first of all, my first task is I'm looking for Virginia so I can mute her. Virginia, you may have to mute yourself. But let's get started here. The agenda today, we're going to cover briefly some of the things that we had talked about last week in terms of the last session. But the key topic today is why we need a partner to deliver our solutions. So I'm going to address the CommScope VAR requirements, talk about some of the key attributes when we select a DAS partner, and then we'll talk about deployment, project deployment. So again, we talked last week about a lot of terms, passive and active. Basically, the difference is the electronics is in the active piece. We talked about DAS components in terms of the carrier interface, bringing the signal in and then distributing the signal, which is what the DAS does. We talked at length about the wireless service providers being stakeholders in this, regardless of who's paying for the solution. But at the end of the day, you know, the consideration that we're talking about today is who's responsible for the deployment of the DAS. So we talked last week about the fact that the wireless service providers own the frequencies, so that's a very important consideration when we make a partner selection. We also have to take into consideration that many of the systems we put in are for public safety, and those are all based on emergency situations, so we want to be absolutely sure that we're putting something in that will work properly during this demand situation. And then lastly, we want to make sure that the people that are doing the deployment are using the right tools so that they can get it right. So the first thing to consider is the fact that we're not talking about a simple skill set to be able to deliver this. This is not a plug-and-play kind of scenario. So requirement-wise, we're looking, number one, for a company that has strong RF, that's radio frequency expertise. We're looking for people, for companies that have IB-Wave certification, which is the standard for the wireless industry. From an OEM perspective, we want to make sure they're certified on our technology. We want to make sure that they understand the carrier requirements, which is key. We want to make sure that they have a strong wireless service provider relationship and they have past performance in working with the carriers. The other thing we look at is resources. Are they going to provide us with the technical resources we need? Are they going to provide us with the sales resources to go out and determine what the customer requirements are? And again, the certification is key, and the reason for that is that ensures the warranty coverage. The other piece, too, is there's lots of testing that's required in putting a package together, and that is an investment that our partners have to make. And that's very, very important. And then in the enterprise world, it's most people, companies that are buying their own DAS systems are looking for some kind of a service contract, so post-sale support becomes very key. And NOC stands for basically a network operations center where somebody can monitor the system remotely. So the bottom line is there's very few companies out there in my 15-plus years experience in this space that qualify to be our service provider partner for us. Many try to subcontract, which doesn't always work out well. We've seen numbers of cases where companies will actually just push off the carrier approval piece and say it's not part of our scope of work. That's the end user's responsibility. And many companies out there will actually just ignore the carrier approval piece and lowball a quote and then just kind of walk away. So none of that is good for us as an OEM. So for now, I'm going to pass this over to Rick, and Rick is going to address Vision Technologies' expertise as a valued business partner of CommScope.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar. As Ron mentions, I'm going to talk about the characteristics and attributes that are important when you're looking to hire or team with a DAS solutions vendor. As Ron said, Vision has worked hard to meet the various requirements that CommScope has. And some of the issues I'm going to address over the next few slides are essential for either the venue owner looking for a turnkey solution or an organization that is looking to supplement their existing services with the ability to provide a turnkey solution to their client base. And in both situations, you need to make sure you have a partner that has some of these,